Hey guys, Cam from 15, joined by my Uncle Daryl. We are back talking Chicago Bears football. Now, obviously I was working when all the free agency craziness was going on. Now we'll do a separate video talking about other NFL teams and the moves they've made and things like that in free agency. That's going to be our part two. We kind of did a predictions part one video that's already up on the channel. This is just strictly talking about so far on day one of free agency, the moves the Bears have made. And polls came out, and coming off the trading of the first pick and getting DJ Moore, he just added again some nice, good pieces that definitely, in one case with the Edmonds move, shocked me. Um,
Yeah,
I was pleasantly surprised about the Davis contract
but
because,
we did kind of hint at it
yeah,
maybe a few weeks ago. We hinted at it that he might be interested in a guy like Edmonds. So it wasn't that big of a well, it was a shock, yeah.
yeah,
But at the same time, though, looking back on all of our conversations, we did talk about it.
yeah. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with the left guard signing of Davis.
Yeah,
And then obviously we kind of so far end off the night with Walker that came as of now. But we
yeah. It looks
start
like Poles raped. He literally raped the Panthers, and he just raped the doggone Titans too. So,
yeah,
man, get a dude the key to the city.
that's what Claypool said in a tweet.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he said give Poles a key to
Okay, well, I'm gonna take it back. Let Claypool have that comment. That was man. Just go ahead. Well, not necessarily give him a parade, but goodness gracious, man, Ryan Poles ain't playing.
Yep. So Ryan Poles actually made the first move in free agency, and that was the Bears signing Eagles linebacker TJ Edwards, which shockingly enough, I guess just finding some background information over today. He actually used to live in not California, Chicago. So
Chicago.
practically he's a Bears fan growing up. And I think he said he made a comment on 670 the score earlier today, pretty much saying like I wasn't gonna pass up this opportunity to play for like the hometown team. So it's nice that he
Correct.
did that. And then the contract he signed was actually, to be honest, a pretty team friendly deal. He's getting 19.5 million over 3 years,
Yep.
and 12 million guaranteed. That's
It was 12.
yeah, 12 million guaranteed.
All right. I thought it was 15, but that's cool. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's practically a team friendly deal right then and
Yep.
there. It looks like a lot of money, but that's team friendly. And for a guy
Yep.
that led the Eagles in terms of tackles this past season, it's one of those guys you definitely need to get him in the room to improve your linebacking core because the linebacking core, it wasn't the best. They had their games where they showed up, but then there'd be their other games where they just lay an egg and they wouldn't do much of anything. Um,
Right.
and we'll talk about Tremaine Edmonds in a second, but getting TJ Edwards, it obviously impacts, your linebacking core right then and there. And also too, he also played alongside Jack Sanborn, who we expect to also start going to next season as well, because they used to play on the Wisconsin Badgers. But a guy that makes all these tackles, which hey, it's similar to that of Roquan, right? And we'll talk about Tremaine
Yeah.
Edwards too. He's that type of guy. And then it's another guy, even when we'll get to Tremaine Edmonds, he's a good guy in pass coverage, which is something that the Bears linebacker struggled with a lot this year. He had
Yeah.
I think I saw on the stat line, he had like 7 pass deflections. If he's getting out there and he's covering guys out in the flats or in the middle of the field, you'll take it. And then on top of the fact that he's a leading tackler for the Bears, we saw this past season, there was a lot of times where the Bears looked like they had a guy miss tackle right then and there. So this is a guy that
Yeah.
seems to be a pretty good tackler since he led the
Yeah.
team in tackling.
Yeah.
And things like that. But I like the move, getting obviously a player that went to Super Bowl last year. I think he's going to be a good linebacker for us for the next 3 years.
Well, what I like about him more so than in addition to everything you just said, man, he gets from side to side really fast. I mean, the one thing that always drove me nuts is when we have a linebacker and he's always slow to the point of attack. And that's not the case with the two linebackers we just kind of, especially Edwards. I mean, but they get to the ball fast. And I think that was one of the things that sounds like that Poles wanted to do, get to that ball fast and make sure that these guys are young as well.
Yeah.
If I'm right, Edmonds is what, 20, I mean, he's what, 25?
24 going on 25.
24. He'll be 25, I think, the start of the season. So I mean, that's a boon to have a guy that talented, that young, in your stable. And both of these guys are young. So
practically all the guys who signed are young guys. They're like in the age of
young guys, 26 and younger. Yeah, 26 and younger. And we're not looking, he's not looking for, that age veteran. That's and I mean that might be the case for the offensive line though. So because the offensive line is a little bit of a different story. So kudos to the signing. Although I will say it does not shock me that the Bears got off to the ground running because they got the most money to spend anyway.
Yeah.
I think free agents are going to probably waiting for the Bears to call because the Bears got money.
Yep.
So that said, it didn't shock me that he hit the ground running. He got the cash, and he's showing everyone that he's willing to use it quick, use it fast, and get these guys into the stable.
Yeah. Any thoughts about Edwards that I said before we move on to Edmonds?
Well, Edwards, just like I said, what I like about him is he's really fast to the point of attack from the side to side. Now, it's going to be really interesting to see because I think Eberflus likes a
4-3 guy.
4-3 guy. So it's going to be really interesting to see how he plays Sanborn, Edmonds, and Edwards.
Yeah.
Especially because Sanborn was a middle linebacker. And so was Edmonds. So it's gonna be interesting to see how he mixes and matches, these guys, or is he maybe he's looking for another outside linebacker and let Sanborn back up at him. We don't know. So we'll see. But yeah, I like the way the linebacking core is actually starting to shape up.
Yep. So after that, a few minutes pass and things like that. And I was wondering when the Bears are going to make a next move. Now, mind you, I'm working in the sweet office at Dodger Stadium, and I'm just looking at my phone, refreshing my timeline while doing this assignment I'm doing. And lo and behold, the moment I call for a freaking move for the Bears to make, well, I get shocked at the freaking moment. I didn't see this coming. I just see Adam Schefter tweet, and it's Bears are signing Tremaine Edmonds. And I was like, there is no way, because if you watch our free agency prediction, we did talk about Tremaine Edmonds being one of the top free agents as a coming off season. And we were both mentioning, like, I would like it if he went to the Bears, but I can honestly see him resigning with the Bills. I guess you could say I got my sweet dream, my type of dream that I wanted to get. And the Bears are getting Tremaine Edmonds. They signed him to a 4-year, $72 million deal that includes $50 million guaranteed. It's the largest 4-year contract for an inside linebacker in the NFL. Now, first things first, because I have many takeaways with this deal. One, this was essentially Ryan Poles' way of giving the middle finger to Roquan Smith and saying, that's kind of the thing. Where we were going to pay this guy who's taller, bigger, and faster. And even probably more in shape than what Roquan is right now.
Correct.
And I just saw that as a middle finger, and it's even more of a middle finger when you find out this contract is actually front loaded. It's front loaded in the start of the first few years of his contract, and then as it tails off, it's a pretty cheap contract. So then when it's time for him to renegotiate for a new contract, they can pay him for a bigger contract. And this is a guy who's only 25. He's in the range of hitting his prime to prime years. So he hasn't even realized his full potential yet. And Ryan Poles practically said, you know what, Roquan, I'm just going to let you walk since you're asking for too much money and you're doing all the antics you were doing in the way. Tremaine Edmonds, here, come right along, sign him.
Yep, in the offseason. I think Roquan Smith, he really, and I know I'll say with me, this is me. Mm-hmm. To me, he ticked me off when he came back to the Bears out of shape.
Yeah.
And you can definitely tell he was out of shape.
Yeah.
And I personally didn't care for it. I'm sitting on all the things that we heard about through the media, as far as, him not taking an agent, he's not working out. And then when he came back, again, slow to the point of attack. He didn't seem like he was the same guy. And I'm pretty sure Poles didn't like that. So he's just like, okay, don't worry about it. I'll just go ahead and get this stud who's a physical freak of nature, and I'll give him basically less than what you got from the Ravens. And it's a front loaded contract, which means later on, if he's underperforming his contract, then you're not in any kind of position to go ahead and hold on to him. But I don't think that's going to be the case with Edmonds. So I mean, he was the Bills leading. We got the Bills leading tackler, we got the Eagles leading tackler, and
Yeah.
and I gotta admit, it's like what? It's almost 5 o'clock in the morning here, man. And I was just so psyched. You texting me and I'm like, we got this guy, we got this guy. So I was just, I
Yeah.
couldn't sleep. Needless
Yeah.
to say. Yeah, I couldn't sleep. So but yeah, I got what I like most about Edmonds is that he is a physical freak of nature.
Yeah.
So and he plays hungry, he plays hard, and it's a good thing that we're looking for players that lead their team in something.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's one of those he's again one of those linebackers similar to that of Fred Warner who's really good in pass
yep,
coverage. You
yep,
need him to cover, I
yep.
wouldn't say all the time cover a receiver, but if receivers going streaking up the field, well then he'll pick it up and he'll go cover that. And again, he's tall enough
Yeah,
to where, obviously his quarterbacks, they're gonna be like, well, this guy's tall. I don't know if I should throw it to this guy in the middle of the field, right then and there.
yeah,
So I think Tremaine Edmonds is a great pickup, especially for the Eberflus scheme that he has now.
yep,
Obviously, the question that's being thrown around as well: who's going to be the Will? Who's going to be the Mike? I think Eberflus will find that out. Honestly, I think whether it's Edwards at the Mike or Edmonds at the Mike, either or works. I would have to
yeah.
envision maybe they put Edmonds at the Will. That's just my guess, and they try to make him
Mm-hmm.
like kind of Shaq Leonard. So could be the case right then and there. But again, this is a guy who's just hitting his prime. The fact that the Bears got him, I'm just absolutely shocked. Now, again, when we do our full NFL,
Yeah,
talking about NFL in whole, we'll see how this affects the Bills. I think it will
yeah,
affect the Bills a lot. But they did resign Matt Milano, but I think that's just a voice in their locker room that they're definitely gonna miss. Um,
yeah.
but we'll talk about that when the time comes. But I just
Well, I was going to say, and I'm sorry to mean to cut you off. I was going to say that I think right now, the linebacking core of those three at least
yeah,
are pretty versatile, where it depends on the format as far as what they do with them.
yeah,
Nickel, dime, quarter. You really never know. You might be able to run both of them in. Run one in, one out. Things like depends on the situation. So I mean, it's a versatile linebacking core. All three of them can play middle. All three of them can be the Mike. All three of them can be the wheel. So it doesn't really matter.
yeah. So it's gonna be interesting. Again, I find it absolutely hilarious that Poles gave Edmonds a front loaded contract. He takes the deal, but when he gave but according to Roquan Smith sources, Ryan Poles did the same thing, front loaded his deal, but he didn't take it. So hey, yeah, he's with the Ravens. That's kind of the thing there.
Why would you not want your money front loaded? You get your money quicker that way.
I don't know.
I mean, the thing to do is to pay you while you're young enough to be able to, perform. It's like when you was a 4-year contract, he's 24, let's just say 25, 4-year contract. He'll perform really well as a 25, 26-year-old, 27-year-old, he may be okay. But towards his, 28 years, he could either be the best linebacker in the league or he could underperform his contract. So I think, front loading his contract is really good because it gives him the incentive financially to go ahead and, be better.
Yep. Yeah. And these two players, Roquan and Jermaine Edmonds, They're both in the same draft. They were drafted in the same draft, so
Yeah.
absolutely hilarious when you think about it. Bears got both at least a chance to see both players play.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the good thing. Again, one more point before we move on to Davis. When you combine Edmonds and Edwards deals, surprisingly enough, it's cheaper, a few dollars cheaper than Roquan Smith's deal.
Yeah,
So the
what
Bears
Roquan
got two linebackers
for the price of
for the price of pretty much trading Roquan Smith away. And I saw this one tweet. It's like, so here's what you would as a Bears fan, would you take this Edwards, Edmonds plus the second round pick, or would you just take Roquan Smith with his huge contract?
I think I'll go with the former, honestly. I mean, come on now.
Yeah. Like,
come on now. I mean,
so
heck, I mean, just let's think about it like this. In terms of total contract, they brought in Edmonds at about almost $30 million less.
Yep.
Like, come on now. Let's just keep it as simple mathematics. You brought in a linebacker for $30 million less.
Yeah.
Enough. And then on top of that, Edwards didn't even get that much. So yeah, you're all right. He got both of them for less.
Again, it goes
and Sanborn on a rookie deal.
Yep. And again, what are the two things that we see Edmonds and Edwards have in common? They both were playing the Bears this past season, and they saw what Justin Fields has. And if Justin Fields takes the next step,
yep.
Watch out.
Yep.
Moving on to the offense. Obviously, you know, the thing was, okay, are we going to move? We got to get an offensive lineman. Obviously, right tackle, left guard, center, those were definite needs. Mike McGlinchey was one player that went off the board. Again, we'll talk about it in our full thing. I thought he got massively overpaid for what he was worth, even though the Bears were interested in him. But I can see why Ryan Poles is like, oh, no, that's my cutoff limit right there. I'm not going to pay you that type of money.
Yeah.
Which Mike McGlinchey, he's an average to above average player anyways. So hopefully, you know, Broncos are getting.
What was he, a 28-year-old?
Yeah, 28-year-old.
Yeah, 28-year-old. Yeah. Not for that money.
Yeah. I would have been fine if they got him, but not for the money the Broncos paid him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From a Bears standpoint, there were other linemen out there that obviously there were other linemen out there that were equal in talent that we could easily get for the amount of money that we require. So yeah. But at the same time, you offer me that kind of cash, I'm signing too.
Yeah. The Broncos also signed Ravens guard Ben Powers. That was another guy that I kind of wish we signed, but hey, it's one of those deals where it's like he got signed a lot of money. Now I don't know why Poles didn't go after him. That's kind of the case. Then Jawaan Taylor.
Maybe Poles did go after him, and Poles wasn't really interested in paying what he wanted either.
Yeah. Jawaan Taylor, he ended up going to the Chiefs, which that pretty much meant that right now, Orlando Brown, he's definitely gone. As Jawaan Taylor is replacing the left tackle spot. Now, again, I'll say this. I kind of do hope the Bears throw a bone at Orlando Brown and get him, because then I just have him at left tackle. You move Braxton Jones to right tackle, and I think you just have to worry about your center position. Otherwise, your offensive line is pretty much solidified right then and there. But we did end up getting a offensive lineman, and it's in the form of a guard, Nate Davis he used to play for the Tennessee Titans. He got signed to a 3-year, $30 million deal with $19.25 million guaranteed.
Another cap-friendly deal.
Yep. Listen, I'll take this. Any offensive lineman we get, in my honest eyes, is an upgrade over whatever we had last year. And obviously, the number one thing that was a problem was inside wise. Guards were just getting blown up, whether it was Whitehair. Jones was the one exception, but even a few plays, he ended up getting beat fairly easily. Otherwise, he was out with injury. So you had Schofield in there, and then Mustipher, we already know that situation and things like that.
Yeah.
Right then and there. But
for the most part, the best offensive line all year long for us was 7. Jenkins. But at the same time, though, I mean, he can only be at one position per game. So they moved him around. They moved him at guard. They moved him at tackle, and they kept moving him. They kept moving him, and then eventually, I mean, you know, he wore down. You know, it's a physical position. It's but yeah, I'm hopefully we got a couple of other signings in mind. The Orlando Brown notion that you just mentioned, is clear to me that Poles is interested in cap friendly deals, and he's not interested in just doling out a crap load of money just for a player. And I don't expect him. I don't expect it. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen. I just can't see him just doling out 72 million to Edmonds and then maybe dole out that same kind of cash to Brown. I just don't see it. I think with the draft capital we done already built, I think he'll pass on Brown and grab another and try to build the offensive line through the draft.
I personally go for Brown because you just got to solidify.
Depends on what kind of money he wants, though.
That is true.
Depends on the money. Depends on the money. Now I mean, like, just because we got it, that don't mean that we just got to go crazy and just start, throwing it around. So, obviously talk to him, find out what he wants. I'm pretty sure Poles has got a number in mind. He may throw it at him, and as you call it, throw him a bone. And if he nibbles at the bone, cool. If not, we still got the draft.
Yep. Yeah, look, Nate Davis, I think he's a solid piece for us. They did say he's better in pass protection compared to run, but I think run-wise, the moment he gets here, they're gonna ingrain in him. Well, we're gonna be running the ball, so get good at run blocking. But I think obviously if he's really good at pass blocking, that's definitely gonna help the team out a lot because we definitely need better pass blocking and better protection right then and there. Now the only question is where are they gonna put him? He's on the Titans. He played right guard. Now I don't know what this means for Cody Whitehair. If that means he might be cut. I've seen some people go out there and say, well, maybe they don't cut Cody Whitehair to save cap space. They move him back to center if they don't got a center in mind. And they put him at left guard.
It's possible too. And because Tevin is, for me, Jenkins is the right guard. For me. I mean, so we'll see where that goes. I wouldn't have a problem with Whitehair going back to center. He was actually good at it. He was a Pro Bowl center. So I wouldn't have a problem with him going back to center.
Yeah. I've seen people float around the idea, how about you put Davis at right guard, you move Tevin maybe to right tackle, and you go get yourself a guard, maybe Skoronski from Northwestern in the draft, and then you put Whitehair at center again. We'll find. Obviously, that's things that they got to figure out.
But at the same time, though, it still depends on if they sign a free agent left tackle. Yeah. Sign a free agent left tackle, then obviously for me, like, for example, let's just say it's Brown. You move Jones to right tackle, keep Tevin Jenkins at right guard, or move him to left guard, and have your guards as Jenkins and Davis, and then move Whitehair to center. And at least you've solidified at least some portion of the offensive line. At that point, you start looking for more depth.
Yeah. So the last guy that the Bears signed this evening so far, unless they have any shocking things, but I think they're all in bed now, is DeMarcus Walker to the Bears. He's a 6'4" defensive lineman. He had 7 sacks last year and had around like 16 QB pressures. Now obviously Hargrave, he went for the amount of money he went. Draymond Jones, shockingly, he was in the Bears and Browns, but he ended up electing going Seattle Seahawks, which honestly, if Seattle was tempted in trying to take Carter, even though the issues that are coming up with Carter, I think now they're probably going to pass on Carter. I feel like the reason why Seattle signed Draymond Jones is because they're passing up on Carter.
Passing up on Carter, yeah. I saw that report too. But when I see it, I believe it. Yeah. But hopefully he is available at 9 for the Bears to draft him. I don't know if that's the Bears' intent.
I feel like if they get a left tackle or a right tackle, then I could definitely see them at 9 taking Jalen Carter, especially the fact that practically all the really good three techniques, Draymond Jones, Hargrave, they're gone now. De'Aaron
Yeah.
Payne, he got paid. The
Yep.
only real like guy that I would say would give you like a legitimate like three technique, not to say that Walker can't be that guy, but to me, Walker's more of a depth piece. I still think they need more at defensive line,
Yeah.
because the position was just weak. This one move, won't change anything. And I feel like if they get a tackle in free agency to solidify that Falcons guy is still out there. He was
That's
pretty
true.
solid.
That's true. And keep in mind, again, there is the draft. It's more than just Jalen Carter. The one that comes to mind, the
Guy from
kid from
Texas Tech.
Clemson. Yeah, I was thinking of a kid from Clemson, Miles Murphy. I was thinking about him. So, I mean, there are players that are out there. And again, at this particular moment, we just do not know who's number one on the Bears draft board.
Yeah.
So, just like with any other draft, they have their number one guy. And whoever that number one guy is, if he's available at number 9, they're going to pop him up. So whether it be a left tackle or defensive lineman, they're going to pop him up. The word is they're looking for a defensive lineman. Hopefully it is Jalen Carter.
Yeah, they definitely, but in that case, they definitely have to do their homework. They got to talk to, they said they're going to go to his pro day and everything. So obviously when they meet this guy, they're going to have to talk to this guy extensively, talk to his coaches, talk to people in his past, talk to him directly, and especially when it comes to this situation. And they're definitely gonna have to bring this situation up and see how does he feel about this. What are these things? Does he know the issues and things like that? Talk to the coaches, make sure like is his character good. I think Poles is the type of guy that he wants high character dudes on the team where they're not making stupid decisions. The only guy I know or we saw that had, I guess you can say, a character issue in terms of doing stupid stuff. One was Byron Pringle, with his dumb self doing the drag little or the 8 things in his car with his kid in the car. But he was only signed to a 1-year deal, so it's not like Poles gonna have to cut him, and they're not even interested in bringing him back. And then the only other guy that I guess you could say has like character issues or trying to like, I guess I wouldn't say feeling distance other than what Roquan was because he's gone. You have to say Tevin Jenkins because that was a whole situation in the offseason where it's like, wait, what's going on with this guy? Is he getting traded because it looks like he's not vibing with what Poles got and Eberflus got going on? And
keep in mind, it could just be the other frustration.
Yeah.
Just being impatient as a young man. They put a lot on him last year. They had him everywhere because he was really the only offensive lineman that was really consistent throughout the year. And it just didn't seem that way, that the Bears were truly interested in, building that offensive line during the season. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that's something that can frustrate a man. Be like, hey man, I'm out here getting killed. You don't care. Yeah, that's something different. But I mean, I think help is coming. I think he just got to be patient, grow a little bit over the summer, and I think he'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows what they do with Jalen Carter? I think right now, if he falls to 9 and the Bears get another offensive lineman, I said just take him and just because obviously that'll probably be like your best 3 technique right then and there.
Yeah, correct.
To make sure his character issues don't become a problem in the future. So, but that's what they're going to do on their homework, and then make sure they're going to do all they can. But just ending off of Walker, the fact that he's, I saw from from the stats last year that he's getting to the quarterback, he's creating pressures. He got 7 sacks. It shows that he's a player that he's definitely coming into his own, and he could be growing, and maybe he could be a really good player for this team going to next season in the few years he has got on his contract. But overall, I'm pleasantly surprised with the moves. I expect the Bears to make some more moves. They definitely got to make some more defensive line moves and even some
still need an edge rusher, so we'll see. Still need an edge rusher. So all the talk about a defensive line, interior defensive lineman, but that we still need edge rushers, 2 of them if we can. So we'll see what the Bears do. We'll see how they draft. We'll see how they finish out free agency. So, but all in all, today was a wonderful day to be a Bears fan.
Yeah, I'd probably so far I'd give Ryan Poles an A+.
Yep.
So,
yep.
If there's any shocking things that happen, I'll probably make a quick little video about it. Again, we're gonna have a huge whole free agency video talking about just the NFL and just picture with everything that's going on right then and there, like Jimmy Garoppolo getting paid the crazy amount of money to go to the Raiders. There's Aaron Rodgers situation that I don't know if he's going to the Jets or he's not. I don't know. Bunch of crazy stuff is happening in free agency, and I definitely like it. But anyways, I'm gonna go back so I can go finish off, and hopefully Team USA they just win their game so they can go win against Colombia on Wednesday and advance to the quarterfinals for
It's
baseball.
gonna be a good game. That's gonna be a good game.
So, anyways,
Although
we
they
got it
wax-
here.
Yeah, they wax in Canada.
Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna get out of here, guys. Catch you guys in this video. Till then, guys, stay safe out there and have a great rest of your day or night when
It's 5 o'clock in the morning. Thank you for waking me up.
See you guys in the next video. Peace.
All right.